Hey there, my Banjo-Uke friends. Okay, well, St. Patrick's Day is just a few days away, so we wanted to get to another St. Patrick's Day song that you could play around with between now and then. And this is one called the Irish Rover. Now, before I get started on that, I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoy these videos, then please do hit like and hit subscribe and hit the little bell and leave me a comment just so I know specifically that you're, liking the Banjo-Uke videos. And if you really like the Banjo-Uke videos, then there's always my tip jar, which you can get to on the description page, on the description for this video, but also on the there's a link on the right side of the background image of my YouTube page or YouTube channel page. And well, that's it. So let's see if I can let's see if we can get through this one. On the 4th of July, 1806, we set sail from the Cobb Quay off Cork. We were sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall of New York. It was an elegant craft, she was ripcord and aft. Oh, how the trade winds drove her. She had 23 masks and she stood several blasts, and they called her the Irish Rover. We had 1,000,000 bags of the best Sligo rags, 10,000,000 barrels of stone. We had 3,000,000 sides of old blind horses' hides and 4,000,000 barrels of bone. We had 5,000,000 dogs, 6,000,000 hogs, 7,000,000 barrels of porter. We had 8,000,000 bales of old blind horses' tails at the hold of the Irish Rover. There was Barney McGee from the banks of the Lee. There was Hogan from County Tyrone. There was Johnny McKirk, who was scared stiff of work, and a chap from Westheath called Malone. There was Slugger O'Toole, who was drunk as a rule, fighting Bill Tracy from Dover, and your man Mick McCann from the banks of the Bann, and the skipper of the Irish Rover. We'd sailed 7 years when the measles broke out, and our ship lost its way in the fog. Then the whole of the crew was reduced down to 2, just myself and the captain's old dog. Then the ship struck a rock, Lord, what a shock, and nearly tumbled over. It turned 9 times around, and the poor dog was drowned. Now I'm the last of the Irish Rover. All right, so that's a fun song. Anyway, so it's not too hard. It's got that one tricky E minor chord in it at the last part of each verse. But otherwise, it's just your standard G, C, and D. And they come in a couple of different orders. But we'll do the first verse, and then each verse after that is exactly the same. So you can kind of work your way through from there. But here we go. So it starts with a G. On the 4th of July, 18, and then it goes to a C. 106. We set back to G. Sail from the Cobb Quay off, and it goes to D. Cork. We were sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall of New York. So that's exactly, or almost exactly the same. So it's we were sailing away. That's a G. With a sailing away with a, and goes to a C. Cargo of bricks Then go back to a G. Grand City, now it goes to a D. All of New York, and back to a G. So a D to the G. So there is a slight variation at the end of that line. Then it goes to the third line, which was, she was an elegant, starts with a G, craft, and it switches to D. Rigged fore and aft. Back to the G, and oh, how the trade winds drove her. So that's just going back and forth between a G and a D. And then the last line, the fourth line of the verse, that's where it gets slightly different. She had 23, starts with a G again, 23 masts, and she, now it goes to the E minor, stood several blasts. So it actually goes from E minor and jumps to a C. Stood several blasts, goes to the C. And they called, goes back to the G. Called her the Irish Rover, goes to the D, Rover. So let's go through that last line again. She had 23 masts. So it's just my normal Frailing stroke, which, if you remember, is the strike, the strum, and then the thumb on this fourth string. And that's the same way we do it on the banjo, except we've got 5 strings. So she had 23 masts, and she, now goes to that E minor, stood several, so that's very short, and it goes right to the C, blasts, and then goes to the G. They called her the Irish, now goes to the D, Rover. Okay, we'll do one more verse just to show you. We had 1,000,000 bags of the best Sligo rags, 2,000,000 barrels of stone, so that's G to C to G to D. And then the second line is, we had 3,000,000 sides of old, goes to the C, blind horses' hides, goes to the G, 4,000,000, now it goes to the D, barrels of bone. We had 5,000,000 hogs, so that's a G again. 1,000,000 hogs. Now it goes to the D. No C in here. It goes just alternates between G and D. 6,000,000 dogs. G. 7,000,000 barrels of port. Back to the D. Now it goes to that tricky last line again. We had 8,000,000 bales of old. Goes to the E minor. Blind horses. Oh, I'm sorry, nanny goats. Now it goes to the C, tails. And it goes back to the G. In the hold of the Irish, goes to the D, Rover, and goes to the G. And that's the whole song. There are a couple of more verses after that, but they fall into that same pattern. So you work on that, and have a happy St. Patrick's Day. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.